Hi, everybody. Welcome to another week of the Positive People Show. And I am so excited this week to have Heather Louise Vasey. Isn't that how I pronounce it? Yes.
Yes, that's correct.
Heather is from Winnipeg in Canada, and I am one of her biggest fans on LinkedIn. So I'm so excited to get stuck in here and get chatting to Heather. Firstly, if people don't know me, I'm Denise Devlin. I am the founder and the CEO of Positive Parties Training with a Difference, which is an inspirational transformational coaching company and training company. And what we do is we deliver workshops and programs and seminars promoting positive mental health and positive mental attitude in a unique party style environment. And we've been doing that now for 10 years. We go in, we create fun, we create laughter. We're using NLP, cognitive behavioral therapy, and positive psychology, and we do it in a fun party style environment. Obviously, during all the lockdowns, we've been doing all our programs online. We've got accessing your positivity palette, and we've been doing them all over the world. But we're looking forward to getting back out there again. We also have a licensee in Germany, and now we're looking for other licensees. So if you're listening, if you're watching, and anywhere you are in the world, if you would like to become a Positive Parties licensee, just check us out on positiveparties.com. Right, now, Heather, that's me. I'm so excited to talk to you. I noticed you on LinkedIn. I can't remember how long ago it was, maybe a year ago. Have you been on that long?
I've been on a bit longer than that, but I believe it's been about a year since we connected.
Yes, it was. So Heather is a confidence coach. But the thing is about you, Heather, you have the most amazing inspiration, soulful, straight from the heart posts that you put up with these beautiful images and these beautiful pictures underneath. And they seem to just talk straight. Everyone I read, it just hits me here. And it's like, oh my goodness, I so needed to read this today. And with the pictures underneath and with it was just the most, when I first noticed you on LinkedIn, it was the most refreshing posts I'd ever seen. They just spoke to me. And it was like this deep spirituality that was coming through these posts. And and you have so many followers. You started off, I think, with about, was it 600, and now you've got over 10,000.
Yes. Yeah, I started on LinkedIn several years ago. It was very small beginnings, but I think you have to start somewhere. It was a friend of mine that asked me about LinkedIn. And at that time, I didn't really know what it was all about, but I decided to give it a try. And here I still am today.
And how do you feel you built that up, Heather? What were you doing at the start? Were you doing your inspirational posts from the very beginning?
At the very beginning, I had a very direct focus. I was running a nonprofit called the Posey Project with a friend of mine, and it was to raise money for Alzheimer's and for Alzheimer's awareness. So at the beginning, that was the primary focus, about kindness and paying it forward, that kind of thing. And then as things have moved along through my healthcare journey, I decided to focus more on those kinds of pieces, and about the importance of, being kind, compassionate, all kind of related to the work that I was doing.
All right. So to give us a bit of a background then, you started off, so you're from Winnipeg in Canada. Yes. And so you'd said to me earlier, you have 4 elder sisters.
Yes. Sadly, 2 of them have passed away, but I grew up in a family of 5 girls. Wow. So my poor dad didn't know whether he was coming or going, because there was 6 women and just him in the house. So he survived. He lived a very long and healthy life. So he had lots of people to tell him what to do.
Brilliant. That's brilliant. So then you went, so you grew up with, your sisters, and then you went into the health profession. So you worked in healthcare.
Yes, I was in healthcare for over 20 years. I worked mainly with dementia patients and also with cancer patients. And I did that mostly, it was in a variety of settings. It could be in a hospital setting or a personal care home or someone's private home. So I would go and I would do healthcare assessments and figure out what they needed, do some home support, that kind of thing, just to set up a care plan.
So what happened then for you to transition from, being in healthcare to becoming a coach, becoming a life coach? What was it in you that thought, right, I really want to do this?
I believe it was really because I felt that in some way I wanted to make a difference. And I thought about using my personal experiences in my life to help someone else maybe that had similar experiences. So about 2 years ago now, I started really thinking about making the transition from healthcare to coaching. And I was finding that I was always facilitating more for the families and helping the families of the clients than I was the actual clients themselves. So that's where that passion came from, to want to help other people.
Right. And now on LinkedIn, you're really putting yourself out there, aren't you? Because you'll do about 3 posts a day. And then I've noticed, like, well, it's not so much recently, but a while at the start, we just saw the beautiful images that you would put up, these beautiful photographs, and they were used mostly of women like, and they would like be really colorful, and they'd be close up, or they'd be just amazing images that would go with your post. And all of a sudden, Heather appeared. And we had never seen you before. And then it was like, wow, look, this is what Heather looks like. And that was amazing. So tell us about how you took that step then to show yourself.
Well, I think what I really wanted people to see is that I am the person that really wants to help other people know, like, my story in terms of helping them. I think when we can show up authentically and talk about our own personal journey, it helps other people really to resonate with that and to relate to that. It's not really my comfort zone to do videos or really to do pictures of myself, but I think it's important that people know who the person is behind the story, and then make it relatable and make it maybe put people at ease about sharing their own stories and making it real.
Yeah.
So that was really what made that shift for me.
Because I know even before we started doing the recording here for, this the Positive People show, you said to me, oh, is this going to be, are you using the pictures as well? And I was like, yeah. And you thought we were just going to be the voices, but is this a first for you, actually being interviewed on a video, like being put out there on
actually
social media?
This is the third time. Yesterday I did another one, which probably will be out sometime later today, perhaps. Right. And then I did one a few months ago with my business coach. And so that was the very first one. So you're my third video, and it really truly does take me out of my comfort zone, but they say that's where we learn the most. So I'm all good.
That's where the magic happens, isn't it? Out of your comfort zone.
Yes, outside your comfort zone. Yeah.
When I'm doing Positive Parties, Training with a Difference, when we're out doing our workshops, I have this game at the start, which is great. And I have these big bags of like pants, like, no, not pants as in your pants are like trousers, knickers, as we would call it. You would probably call them knickers. Underwear. I probably have some here. Like big bags of underwear. Yeah, here I have them. I'd have a big bag of like underwear, right? Like all these pants, okay? And obviously they're props, like nobody's ever worn them, they're props. And what I do is I put the load of them all out on the floor, and I say to them, right, get into pairs, and everybody has to find as many ways as possible how not to wear a pair of pants. So like you wouldn't go out during the day, with like, with a pair of them up here or on your head or whatever. So people do that, and it's good fun, and they do it in pairs, but people find it out of their comfort zone. So then what we do is when we come back, I play fun music and everybody does this in pairs. And then when we come back and sit down, I'll say, okay, what if I had just said to you that and you'd all said, no, Denise, we're not doing it. And this could be a room of directors, a group of teachers, HR professionals. What if you just all said, no, you would have sat there, I would have sat here, and the energy would have been so flat, wouldn't it? And they were like, yeah. I says, but you all did it. Some of you found it really uncomfortable. You did it, and it was good fun. So can you all think of a time when you did something out of your comfort zone? So then I get them to talk in pairs about something they did out of their comfort zone, and then we all share that, and everybody claps and cheers and roars about stuff out of their comfort zone. Yeah, so it's really fun.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome.
And it's so funny because, you know, people, you don't usually go in for a training, because the training that I would do, it's all about, you know, positive mental attitude, positive mental health, team building days, and people go into training and they expect to sit and just watch a PowerPoint. But at a positive party training, it's like way out there. You're just in 5 minutes and you're getting thrown a pair of like pants.
That's a different approach. That's great.
It is, yeah. But the minute people talk about, you know, somebody might say, you know, I didn't finish school, and then I started working, and then I decided I want to go back and, you know, become a teacher or a classroom assistant, or, you know, and then, or I had been out of the workforce for ages, and then I went back and did something, went back into the work, and people will just tell all these things that they did, that they went really out of their comfort zone, or somebody might have done a presentation that they didn't really want to do, but when they did it, they got great feedback. And it's just so heartwarming to hear people's stories of going out of their comfort zone. And the lovely thing is that when you do it with a staff team, the rest of the staff have probably never heard that story before. Like the pardon me, the principal maybe of the school has said to that teacher, I didn't think you were nervous going to that training course I set you on and doing that presentation. And she's going, yeah, I was terrified. And they were, you know, so people get to find out about each other in a really different way, but it's fun.
That's true. And it creates a whole different avenue of conversations for people to have and get to know each other on a deeper level.
Totally. And especially when it's a fun, and then they're all clapping at each other, because when they what I would do is get them to relay their story back, but they have to listen. It's their listening skills. So like you would tell me your story, I would tell you yours, and then I would say, well, the time that Heather went on 3 videos within, you know, so many weeks, and she's out on LinkedIn, and then everybody would go like, yay, and everybody cheers and claps. So it's good fun. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, so going out of our comfort zone is great. So well done, you. But you know what I thought was wonderful as well? A couple of months ago, you did a video on LinkedIn about being 60. And you really just, your whole energy was like, you know what, I'm 60. I'm starting to do this side. I'm really coming into myself. It's never too late. So do you want to talk a wee bit about that? I just thought that was a fantastic video.
Oh, thank you. Yes. I always kind of felt, growing up, I definitely felt like a bit of a wallflower. I never really put myself out there. I always had this sort of thoughts that, you know, nobody's going to like me or what I do, or I kind of had a lot of self-doubt, which is a big part of why I'm doing confidence coaching now, because I understand what it's like to be there and to feel that way. And then some of that carried into my adult life. So I think it's really important that I use my story for good and turn it around and hopefully help someone else. So I just always felt maybe that I was like the late bloomer. So I thought, you know what, but it really, age is just a number. It's just how long you've been on this earth. It has nothing to do with your abilities or your starting point. So I just really want people to remember that whether they're changing careers, whether they're just starting out due to different circumstances in their life, it's never too late. If you really feel passionate about something and you really want to make a difference, then just go for it.
Totally.
It doesn't, age is a number. Age is only a number.
As my husband always says, age, if you don't mind, it don't matter.
Exactly. That's right.
Isn't it?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
My husband Neil will be 60 in July. And today is his first day of his freedom from being in a job that he was in, which he loved, for 18 and a half years. And he left yesterday, and because he decided that he just wanted a change. He, you know, and I think just part of that was coming up to being 60 and saying, okay, I've got this time left. I want to explore other things. and he was a charge nurse in a residential, you know, care home, and he was deputy manager for years and years and years there, but he just felt it was time to move on. And it was so lovely yesterday because the staff gave him such an amazing send-off and such beautiful gifts, and they had a cake for him, and you know, it was very emotional, but it was just, I thought it was very, you know, but my mum can't really understand why, oh my goodness, why would you give up a job, and one of your daughters is about to go to university and hopefully another one will be going as well. Why would you give up a job now at 60? You know, will they be able to, because that's that old school that you got into a job and stayed for life. And I says, Mum, you know, he's going to do agency work and then he's going to explore new things. And Neil says he's open to whatever comes along. So, but he's going to go fishing for a month first.
Oh.
Up and down, yeah. He loves fishing, so he's going to take time out and go Mayfly fishing here in Lough Erne near to us and enjoy that. And it, you know, I can feel him, just that sense of lightness and that freedom of like, he's just like so chilled that to have made that decision to say, yeah, I've made the decision and I'm 60, but there's still loads more I can do, which is lovely.
Exactly. As long as you're still willing and able, then just go for it.
Yeah. And a prime example.
It's a game changer.
Totally. And the prime example, I think, too, of is your fellow Canadian, is Bob Proctor. Like, he's like 87, I think he is. He's well in his 80s.
I think so.
Yeah. And he just talk about a fine kind of like, this man is just, he's amazing. And he just is like, every day I learn, every day I study, every day. And I do laugh though. He says, and I don't hang around with old people, I hang around with young people, he always says. Because in his team and in his studio, where he does, you know, when he does a lot of his videos and a lot of broadcasts, all his team are like probably in their like 30s and, you know, 20s, 30s, 40s. And he says, yeah, I hang out with young people, but he's amazing. And he says, you know, I still have so much. I haven't, you know, you never reach your potential. You can always be better. You can always be better. So what a lovely attitude, because, you know, there seems to be, I don't know what it's like in Canada, but, you know, an old attitude here would have been, oh, you know, you're coming to 60, come to 65, just retire, put on your slippers, you know, sit back. You know, it was very much, yeah, you're getting old. Whereas now I think there's a whole new revival around that. You know, as you said, age really doesn't matter.
No, and I grew up with, when my dad retired, he retired in his late 60s, but then he started his own company right after he retired from the job he'd had forever. So he really set the bar for me and my sisters in terms of, you know, it just because you turn 60 or 65, I mean, your life can just keep going or start again or whatever that looks like for you. So my dad worked well into his early 80s.
Wow.
And I think that's what kept him going so long.
Yeah.
So gave him some purpose and some meaning and a reason to get up every day. So that's great.
It is. It's brilliant, isn't it? So that's obviously, what a lovely role model for you. You know, your dad, yes. Like, that is amazing.
He was. Yeah, he was my biggest fan, my biggest supporter, and he really blazed a trail that way for my sisters and myself.
Brilliant. Yeah, my dad as well. He worked in his business up until I think he was about 70, 73. Yeah, and he just and he was 80 there a couple of weeks ago, so that was good. But you know, another lovely thing too was, we're talking about role models. When Neil came back from work last night, Orla had a lovely, we have two girls, they're Emer's 18 and Orla's 15, and Orla had written him a letter. And oh my goodness, it was just so beautiful. And I was like, dear daddy, like, I am so proud of you for listening to your gut and doing what's going to make you happy. And, you know, thanking him for all that he's done so far with us and supporting us all. And just said, you know, I hope whatever happens to you now, it's just going to be amazing. And, you know, it was really emotional.
Oh.
Yeah. And she just said, you know, and I thought, like, that lovely awareness to say, like, you know, she can see him now at 60, you know, trusting his gut and saying, yeah, you know, I was in this secure job, but it's time for a change. I want to explore new things.
Oh, that's a great thing to show his daughters. That's wonderful.
Yeah, it definitely is.
That's
So I'm going to read out one of your posts here, because I was just saying to everybody, I just love your posts. So you posted this the other day. This is what I do, everybody, as well, right? To anybody who's watching. When Heather puts her posts up on LinkedIn, I will go in during the day and then I will take a snapshot of it, photograph on, on my phone, and I will keep it then. So I just have on my photos loads of your beautiful posts, Heather, because I feel as if they speak to me. There might be a day when I'm like, it might be a day I'm gung ho, and then, we have ups and downs, like a roller coaster. And then there'll be a day I'm like, oh, flip, where am I going? What am I doing? Or like, and then all of a sudden I'll read one of your posts and I'm like, this is just what I needed to read today. So this was a lovely one that you posted yesterday. It says, one of the greatest learnings for me has been to drop the self-doubt and show up authentically. When I took a chance on myself is when things began to change. I learned to use my energy to show up and stop trying to be the ideal Heather. Go out there, create your own unique style. When you show up truly as you are, you will always be in fashion. Grateful for all the support. And I just love that. That line, it gives me, when you go out there, create your own unique style. When you show up truly as you are, you will always be in fashion. That's amazing. That gives me goosebumps. It's like I can just feel the energy going through me. And that's the wonderful thing is, see, we shouldn't care what anybody else thinks about us. We just have to be ourselves. So what was this ideal Heather that you felt that you had been trying to mold into before you stepped out to being the I am awesome Heather?
Well, thank you. I feel to some degree that I never really just felt that I would be accepted. Excuse me. I grew up kind of feeling lack of confidence in myself. And so I always felt like I was trying to fit into some other role. Like if I say, for example, I had a job title, I felt like somehow I had to be what the job title said, not who I truly am.
Right.
And a really good friend of mine said to me one day, she said, you know what, Heather, just like stop trying to be the title and just be you. Just do Heather, just be Heather. And she says, I guarantee you that other people are going to resonate with that and they're going to like that. So she said, just, could you please? I said, I'm watching you struggle. Could you just please take my advice and try this? Well, she must have known exactly what she was talking about, because that was the very minute that I had this aha moment and went, okay, I'm going to try it. What's the worst thing that can happen? Yeah. And when I did, that's when everything started changing for me on LinkedIn. Like it was a complete game changer. So now I live my life keeping what she said to me in mind at all times and think, okay, like how am I showing up today? What am I bringing into this space? Yeah. What kind of energy do I want to create? And it's very true about the energy that you bring into a space is exactly what you're going to get back. Totally. And when I show up on LinkedIn, I try to bring myself, and I might not always be having the best day, but the point is just showing up anyway and being real and being a mess and whatever it is, just because everybody goes through those same things and you're not putting on a false sense then, and people can resonate to that, whether it's your highs, your lows, and everything in between.
Totally. And that's what makes it authentic, isn't it? Just being yourself.
Yes.
Just coming out. Yeah, totally. I that's what I love.
And I think people can understand that because everybody goes through a multitude of things.
Yeah.
So when you can just show up and bring, like I said, again, it's really important what kind of energy you bring into a space. And if you want to attract good energy, then you bring good energy and try and lift other people up. That's all about what I'm trying to do.
And you certainly do it. Like the next day then, I think this was another one you put. Every adversity brings new lessons and experiences. Resilience is your inner anchor. To stay true to your own path, even when things when there are challenges and obstacles. Your spirit is resilient. Just like a tree, storms in life help you to grow deep roots. You are strong. I mean, to someone who's having a yucky day on LinkedIn and feeling, oh, I haven't got that done, blah, 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 what am I doing? Just to read that is just amazing. You know, everything brings new lessons and experiences. Resilience is your inner anchor. And your spirit is resilience. That's all we need to know. Your spirit is resilience, because this energy that is coming to you and through you is resilient. It's our mind that can take us back, and our limiting beliefs, isn't it? And that old stuff, you know, that old, you know, somebody triggers things. Somebody could put something up, or somebody can say something to you, and it takes you right back to when you were a kid, or right back when you were at school, or right back to that part of your life. And it's been able to see through that. That's just an old memory. It's just an old thought, and you can just let it go, because that's not who you really are.
No, and that's how self-limiting beliefs start, is by that recycling of old things that have happened to you. And it's learning how to let those go and not recycle them, but get rid of them. Just put them in the trash, not the recycle bin, and just leave them there.
So how would you help somebody, Heather, if they were coming on to you to say they had a limiting belief?
Well, I think the very first thing to do is address where that limiting belief stems from. I often find that people are triggered. It may not even be a current event. It can be something that happened to them years ago that they have never really dealt with.
Of course.
And then that sort of sets the stage for repeating those same things over and over again. They say that we do not really move forward unless we've healed and learned from something that's happened to us in the past. All the lessons repeat themselves, maybe just in a different way. So really digging deep and doing that inner work and creating awareness about what it is that's really causing that limiting belief. That's the first step. And then creating action steps and putting together, co-creating with the client to help them see how that they can move beyond that.
And do you find that mirror work helps as well with people doing the, you know, looking in the mirror and stuff? Because a lot of people, especially women, find that very difficult because we weren't taught to love ourselves. So the mirror work is, I feel, quite crucial in the whole self-love.
Yes, I really am learning about the power of, you know, the affirmations that you say to yourself, because often the words we tell ourselves are the house we live in, right? So the words that you speak to yourself are almost more critical than what other people say to you, because you learn to internalize those thoughts and those beliefs. When you can stand in front of a mirror and just say, I am, and whatever those things are after that that are meaningful to you, it really does start to change how you see yourself, and then do more active practices of self-love.
Totally. It's because I have here one of my prompts too for positive powers. A lot of the time we can like beat ourselves up, can't we? And it's just that big hammer, you know, we're beating ourselves up and being critical to ourselves. But you know, that voice, that critical voice comes from probably when we were little kids, when we were being criticized, or, you know, we were at school, or somebody said something to us. So it's as far back as that, and it's just that awful, silly old memory that we have to get rid of, and that's where the work begins of that, the limiting beliefs. But it's recognizing, it's the awareness, isn't it, of that voice?
It is. It's the starting point of making any kind of change. You have to really figure out what it is that is the trigger and where it stems from. And if it's something that's kind of a repeated pattern throughout your life, and how do we break that cycle?
And would you find that a lot of this as well can be emotional, you know, because it's deep emotional? Would you tap into anything about the cellular memory, where people would bring stuff up through releasing it kind of in a body way, getting rid of it out of their bodies, like screaming and shouting and getting rid of it that way? Because sometimes, you know, if we hold on to it really tight, it's actually in our bodies, so we have to release it that way.
I haven't actually done a lot of work. In my coaching studies, we talked about doing a thing called tapping. And
All right, yeah.
I don't know, yeah, that helps to release sometimes.
Yes, yeah.
It's often good to do that even prior to a coaching session,
Yeah,
because it already sort of releases any kind of the tension and the feelings that people have coming into session. And sometimes even coming into a session knowing that you're going to be addressing some things that maybe aren't comfortable. It helps to kind of put them a bit more at ease, and be prepared to do the homework and to do the deep work that they need to do.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's the way that I usually go about it.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah, I know tapping EFT, emotional freedom. Yeah, it's not it. I mean,
Yes.
EFT, that's really powerful, very powerful indeed. So where do you see yourself going now, Heather? What's your, you're on LinkedIn, you've got this big following, you're inspiring so many people, you're doing your coaching. Have you got a book or anything in you, do you think?
Well, actually, I'm working on a few things. I'm working on creating an ebook right now, and I'm also thinking about starting a Facebook group. Wow. So those are two things that I'm working on right now. And I've had a few inquiries about doing some motivational speaking. So that's also something that I'm giving thought to. So I'm not sure exactly what direction this is going to take me, but definitely starting a group. I would love to do that. And then I'll sort of see where it goes from there.
That's fantastic. Because what I love about what you do as well is your consistency. You every day. So how many posts would you put up a day on LinkedIn? About 3?
Typically 3 during the day, and then sometimes in the evening I'll do one. It just sort of depends on the day and what else is going on in my life. So I try to be consistent at least with 3 posts during the day. And then depending on, sometimes I just feel inspired by something and then I'll do a post in the evening. If something during the day has really touched me, then I like to try and create a post around that. Yeah.
And do you find, because I feel your posts are so soulful, you're just like tuning into the energy, and whatever comes through you comes through you for the post, isn't it?
Pretty much. Yeah. I try to keep it as real and as relatable. Everything that I post on LinkedIn is part of my story in some way. Some of the paintings, like one of my sisters was a beautiful piano player. So sometimes I was doing paintings around music and things like that. So anything that I post is really a part of my story in some way.
Right.
So I try to keep it as kind of real and as authentic as I possibly can. And that's kind of become my brand.
Wow. Yeah, your brand is amazing. Just those, and that's honestly, if anybody's listening here that isn't on LinkedIn, if we have this up on Facebook as well, get over there to LinkedIn and check Heather out. And those of you who are watching this when I share it on LinkedIn, you have to check out Heather Louise Vasey. Isn't that right? Because I said
that's right. That's right. Yeah, perfect.
You have to check her out, because you will be inspired every day. I'm just going to see if there's any, just before we close up here, I want to see if there's anything else, one of your other posts here that I'm going to put up. Yeah, this one. Do not be afraid to show up fully, create, take risks, live your passion. To live creatively and passionately often requires some uncertainty, but often in the mere doing and doing so passionately, you find yourself and what makes you come alive. Creatively creates progress. To be creative means to be passionately involved in life. I mean, that says it all. That really does. Amazing. And I know too, from when I set up Positive Parties at the start, people thought it was a bit crazy, Heather, because this was I'd done my life coaching and I'd done my NLP, and then after I became an NLP master practitioner. But when I was setting up Positive Parties and telling people that I'm going to go out, I'm going to go to go into schools, to staff and to pupils, I'm going to go into companies, I'm going to go into public sector and to charities and communities, and I'm going to teach all these tools I'd learned through my NLP and life coaching and all the books I'd read over the years, and Wayne Dyer and just all the inspirational Hay House and all the things I'd learned there. And I thought, I'm going to take this and I'm going to deliver them, but I'm going to do it like a party. So there's not going to be PowerPoints. There's not going to be sitting down at a desk and taking notes. It's going to be in the form of a party. And people thought I was mad. People were like, who in goodness name is going to pay you? What principal is going to say, yeah, come on in and do a party for my staff team? What HR manager is going to pay you to go? And I says, but this is making learning fun. This is what Einstein says, keep it simple, make it fun. And this is what I've learned. I've done all this studying now, but I want to bring some fun and laughter into it so that people will remember what they have learned because they have had so much fun doing it. And I was so passionate about it and believed in it so much that, yeah, it took off.
Oh, that is fabulous. Yeah, and it's so true that when we involve ourselves in the fun parts of learning, it resonates, it sticks with you, right? It's
Totally.
not like you've just read something in a book and you just kind of, okay, and you forget about it. But when you can actually really experience it, takes it to a whole different level, and then you retain it.
Totally. And that's why, how many times have you gone to training, to some kind of training, and you get a handout, and then you take the handout and you put it in your top drawer when you go back, and you never look at it again.
Never look at it again.
Yeah.
No.
So at a positive party, we take loads of photographs with people like staff with pants on their heads, somebody dressed up as a banana, somebody dressed up as a clown. You know, when we're doing all these exercises, every tool and technique I teach is either NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, or cognitive behavioral therapy, or positive psychology. So we take lots of photographs, and then everybody goes home with party bags and prizes and all that because it's a party. And then a week later, I give them time to process all that they've learned. A week later, I will send the follow-up notes, but the follow-up notes have loads of photographs of the staff team and the director dressed up as a banana and somebody else with pants on their head. And so all the staff will be like, oh, these photographs are great. So they go in, they look at the photographs, they read the material, and they've got it again. A week later, they've been, you know, they just have to revisit it all. They've processed some of it. And yeah, so it's a real fun way to do it, you know. Yeah, so that was so my passion 10 years ago, and I did it. And then I took a bit of time out a few years ago because I published a book called The Untold Story, Peter and Jesus, the Gap Years, which was a spiritual book, and it was a channeling. And then I took a bit of a step back from positive parties, and then I got stuck into it again. And we now have a licensee, Francesca. She's in Germany, and now we're open to, when, you know, the world is open again now to getting to taking people to bringing organizations together, because during the whole lockdown, yes, you know, we've learned a lot, we've connected a lot more online, it's been amazing. But I feel, Heather, that people just need to connect again, especially staff teams, don't they? They need to have eye-to-eye contact, they need to have personal contact, they need to have fun again. So my whole plan is to have other licensees from all over the world coming on board, doing their training, so they can take positive parties into their communities, schools, organizations, whatever, and be the positive parties licensees. So yeah, so that's my plan for going forward.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm very excited to get it into Canada. We really already have a lovely lady in Canada who has been interested in positive parties, and I was hoping to get over to Canada but I haven't got over there yet, just with all that's going on. But yeah, connecting again. So I can just see you out there too, doing your amazing motivational speaking, out up on stages and just telling people your story and being amazing. That'll be so exciting when that comes.
Well, thank you. Yes, that's sort of a little bit of a faraway vision at the moment, but you never know. I'm not closing any doors.
Yeah, because as you know, we have to feel it. We have to imagine it. Because I remember when I set up positive parties at the start, I was imagining myself standing up at stages, talking to, you know, big crowds of people at conferences and getting everybody up dancing and singing. And I just used to visualize myself doing that. And then it happened. You know, this was a way at the beginning when before I'd even got my brand or anything. But I used to do that, close my eyes and just visualize myself and feel it, and you know, and that's when, you know, that's when you'd send it out to the universe and it comes to you, doesn't it?
That's very true. Very true.
Very true. So have you any parting words you would like to tell anybody who's watching today? Where can they get in touch with you, and how to find out more about all the wonderful, wonderful things you do?
Oh, well, thank you so much. Anybody that wishes to reach out can contact me just through LinkedIn, through direct messages.
Right.
And then hopefully we can connect and start a greater conversation. I always look forward to meeting new people and making new connections.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for having me today.
You are so welcome. It has been amazing. And then we can, hopefully we'll talk again, and we can let people know about your Facebook group. I have a Facebook group as well, which is called the Positive People Community. So if anybody that's watching wants to connect with that. And when Heather gets herself up as well, we can let people know about her Facebook group too. So it's nice to have a community and for people to come in and just share their positivity and inspiration. I put up on my group today that I was so excited to be interviewing you today, because this has just been amazing. And the lovely thing too, you've been from Canada, and it's my gorgeous soul sister and my best friend from school, Faye. There's a picture of us when we were like 15. And it's her 5th anniversary of her transitioning into the light today, and she's from here. We were at school together, but she had been living in Nelson, BC. So I just think it's beautiful. And she always sends me signs round about her anniversary. There's always signs from Faye. And we were in the Wizard of Oz together when we were 12. We did a production of the Wizard of Oz at school, and she was the lion and like I was the scarecrow. So it was like it's like the positive mindset. You have to use your mind, you have to listen to your heart, and you have to have the courage to just go out there and do it. And there was this beautiful rainbow. I think I put it up on LinkedIn. You saw it above our house, the night before Neil went in, the last day on this job. And I was like, oh, Faye's with us. And I just feel her presence here today with interviewing you, because Faye just loved your posts and all your inspiration, and you're just doing amazing work, Heather, absolutely amazing work. So thank you so much for being you, for taking the courage to really step out. Age is no barrier. If you don't mind, it don't matter. And you are just such an inspiration to so many, shining your light there on LinkedIn and bringing such a presence and such heart, soul, and spirituality and inspiration into a platform that was kind of quite stuffy and quite serious. And you are a breath of fresh air. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much. It was wonderful to speak with you.
You too. And everybody, if you would like to get in touch with me, Denise Devlin at positiveparties.com, you know where to get in touch with Heather on LinkedIn. And if you'd like to subscribe to the Positive Parties YouTube channel, that would be great. And we have plenty of more wonderful guests coming every week. You are an ideal guest for the Positive People Show, and you're certainly not a wallflower. You are just blooming and blossoming every day. You're amazing. So thank you, Heather. And
thank you so much.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.